ever hit your funny bone? And you feel it all the way up in your hand. That sensation of the pain correlating to the entire section of a body part is what Errol Spence Jr. does when he hits opponents. It is a relentless, methodical, aggressive, deliberate attack that aims to wear you down to where you, by round 6 and 7, now you're feeling everything. Every time you take a step, it moves, it hurts. Every time you throw a punch, your body aches. Now you don't even want to put up your block because your hands are hurt. Everything about him, every attack that he does, leaves a mark and leaves an impression. And the motor and the conditioning allows us so that he does not get tired. Oftentimes, he does not get tired. So he's able to keep that same attack up in round 9, 10, and 11 that he had in rounds 1, 2, and 3. Meanwhile, you're now trying to recover from the round 1, 2, and 3 attack, and he's getting even more fired up. It's like this is the man, he's knocked down a guy named Shawn Porter, another elite fighter, multi-time champion, conditioning out the water. One of the best conditioned fighters of this generation. He retired now. One of the greatest conditioned fighters that we've seen in this modern day. With a relentless motor. He won't knock you out. He won't do that. Shawn Porter wasn't going to knock you out. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But even though he wasn't going to knock you out, he would just keep on punching. He would just overwhelm opponents with relentless work ethic. Errol Spence outworked him. That's the crazy thing. Knocked him down, and he had never been knocked down before. To my knowledge, Shawn Porter had never been knocked down before. Shawn Porter had never touched the mat in 29 of his fights, 28, whatever his record was up until that point. He hadn't touched the mat. And he did it to him. And he outworked him and outclassed him. It was a good fight, don't get me wrong. But we're dealing with a fighter, Errol Spence Jr., that is incredibly relentless, incredibly ruthless, so strong, has conditioning, has a wide array of punches, has a great jab on top of that. One of the best jabs in the division, a phenomenal chin, even with, after the car accident, when people were saying, oh, his career may be over, came back, beat Danny Garcia, beat Shawn Porter, beat Ugas. Like, doesn't make sense. But everything that we've had questions about him since that crash is done. But understand this about the man that he's going up against. He's going up against Terrance Crawford, who's been in the conversation as the best in the world. And Errol Spence Jr.'s opposition has the ability to do everything that Errol Spence can do. But the key factor is he can do it with either hand. See, one of the rare things that you have in boxing is a switch hitter. Somebody that can fight both orthodox and southpaw. The man just goes, in the words of Marvelous Hagler, he goes to war. Understand this. Remember Shawn Porter, the guy that we just spoke about? Never been knocked down until he fought Errol Spence Jr. Lost to Errol Spence Jr. to, I believe, a split decision, or it might have been unanimous decision. That same guy went on to fight Terrance Crawford in a phenomenal fight. That was Terrance Crawford's last fight. Terrance Crawford knocked him out. Forget never been knocked down before. He had never been knocked out before. He knocked out Shawn Porter. And you know what happened when that moment happened? He heard that he was down. He had his whole game plan set up. First 3 rounds, and this is a breakdown of how Terrance Crawford fights. First couple rounds, analyze his opponent. Go in, look, strategize. See what he does. What's his tendencies? Where does he like to weave? What feints do I need to do to get him to bite? What's his rhythm? What's his distance? Where is he comfortable? What angle can I take on him later on in the fight? How can I start setting stuff up so that later on I can catch him? That's how he thinks. So you go and you have that. And that's what he did with Shawn Porter. And then through rounds 4, 5, 6, and 7, all of a sudden now he's starting to pick up steam. He'll lose the first couple rounds to download who you are and what you do. Then after round 3, going into round 4, now he starts to implement his stuff. Now he starts to pick you apart. Now he starts to jab a little more frequently. Now he starts to load up just a tad on a couple shots. Not many, just a couple. Set you up. Maybe throw a combination here or there. Then by round 5, 6, and 7, now he's starting to open up. Now he's getting in rhythm. Now he's found the opening. Now he's switching stances and getting to you. Now he's hitting you with lead lefts and lead rights. Uppercuts and hooks. He's gotten in your rhythm. Now he's countering you before you throw the punch. He was doing all of that with Shawn Porter. And Shawn Porter was giving him work. But he heard his corner say that you're losing the fight. I don't think he was at that point. But corner told him that he was losing the fight. Shocked expression got on his face. Couldn't believe it. Balled up his lip and said, okay, all right, I'm going to end it. Went out, boom. Knocked him down. Boom, gets even more aggressive. Knocked down again. Now Shawn Porter's frustrated. Mad as all it can be. And his corner throws in the towel. Because they're like, oh no, he lost. There's no way he can win now. Ended it right then and there. All because he said, okay, a switch flipped in his mind and just blew him out the water. This fight is going to be a war between two opposing factors. One, an Errol Spence, high motor, incredibly strong, incredibly big, one of the best jabs in the game, and incredibly intelligent, and will wear you down. Terrance Crawford, on the other hand, is a brother who will dissect you, make a game plan, and then implement it, and just pick you apart, piece by piece by piece, like a vulture. But the difference is between the two, and for my prediction, Terrance Crawford's going to win this fight, in my opinion, because of the fact that he's got that instinct to switch. Yes, he's a slow starter, just like Joe Frazier. But once he gets going, when he reaches his top gear, his level is second to none. It's second to none. There's barely anybody in the world that can touch him. And on top of that, he's got another gear that he can get to when he feels like it's time to get desperate. This isn't a knock on Errol Spence, not saying he doesn't have that. But we've seen Terrance Crawford in trouble. Terrance Crawford's been knocked down. Errol Spence hasn't been knocked down. Terrance Crawford, after being knocked down, has immediately ended and knocked out his opponents. He immediately went into that animalistic kill mode and took him out. Took him out. Whenever he felt he was losing, he just took him out. High level opponent, took him out. Just did away with him. Errol Spence Jr., the last time I saw him get in trouble was against Ugas. When he caught him with the uppercut, mouthpiece fell out. Seemed like he was dazed, but Ugas didn't capitalize. And then he just kept doing what he was doing. I didn't see an elevation in his game, just a consistent level of him performing at his peak even after being in trouble. That is incredible. But I don't think that that's going to be enough to take out Terrance Crawford. And Terrance Crawford will be able to get Errol Spence Jr. Because while Errol Spence is bigger, and while he is stronger, his bludgeoning power is countered by Errol Spence's precise power. See, Errol Spence's bludgeoning power is countered by Crawford's precise power. Errol Spence is like a wrecking ball. He'll come in and whatever that thing hits, boom, it just obliterates. I'm not calling him George Foreman. I'm not calling him Mike Tyson. I'm not calling him Ernie Shavers in terms of power punchers, nor in skill level, although he's better than Ernie Shavers by miles. But punching power, absolutely not. I'm not calling him Julian Jackson. But, again, if you get hit in your funny bone and you feel it in your arm, that's what it's like when he punches you. You just feel it everywhere. But Terrance Crawford, it's precise when he catches you. His power is elite. That's why he's got 28 knockouts in 32 fights. It's elite. But it's because he's just able to always get you. And once he gets you, it's over. And every punch is a precise punch. That's the thing. Every punch is a precise punch. A bludgeoning blow with a wide field effect may not always knock you out, but a precise blow on a pinpoint target will always take somebody out. That's how he took out Amir Khan. That's how he took out Jeff Horn. Again, Cal Brook, not Terrance Crawford, Sean Porter. All those fighters that Terrance Crawford fought, took out. Last 4 fights have been KOs. The brother is arguably outside of Naoya Inoue, in my estimation. Outside of Naoya Inoue, Terrance Crawford is the best finisher this boxing game has right now. And if it's early and Spence is able to get Crawford in trouble, hey, I'll give it to him. Spence probably going to take it. But if it gets late in the fight and Crawford is able to reach his fullest potential, get the information, and then now say, okay, I'm coming to you, it's going to be Crawford. It's going to be Crawford. Many people don't want to call it. I'll call it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think Crawford's definitely going to win this fight. And but it's going to be a war. This is going to be something that we're going to talk about for years. Years, man. This is one of those legacy fights. Not just for the fighters, but for the fans as well. This is a fight that if you get to see this unfold, you get to tell your people, grandkids, friends, whoever, years down the line, I was there when this fight happened. When Terrance Crawford and Errol Spence Jr. clashed for the undisputed welterweight title. I was there and I got to witness history. That's how much this fight means. This fight is historically big.